Let's move on to main topic number 3, shall we? And our third main topic today gets submitted to us by Zendal Admore, who writes, "Hello, John and Rob. With 2021 now here, I was wondering if you guys could point us to what are your most anticipated movies of this year and which movies we should keep our eyes on. I know 2020 was a terrible year, but the upside is that we have a lot of great movies to look forward to this year. Thank you, and may your new year be amazing." All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Zendal. And yes, 2021 was pretty much a write-off as far as... or 2020 was a write-off as far as a lot. There were some great movies to come out in 2020, don't get me wrong, but it is a year that's always going to have a giant asterisk beside it whenever we look back on it. However, that has left us in a situation where we have an abundance, if not an embarrassment of riches, Rob, as you would say, of films coming out in 2021. Now, I'm not generally a top 10 guy, but I will at the end of the year do a top 10 films of the year, which I did not do for 2020 for obvious reasons. But I also like to talk about the movies I am most looking forward to this coming year. So Rob and I are each going to give our lists here. And by the way, you're not going to agree with my list and you're not going to all completely agree with Rob's list. That's the beauty of these lists. They're fun to do. So let's jump over now into the Campea classroom, shall we? And let's start talking about the films that I have, first of all, as honorable mention. I've got a couple of films here that I want to mention that are not in my top 10, but I'm going to give an honorable mention to. Honorable mention I want to give to is Top Gun Maverick. Now, why wouldn't this movie be in my top 10? Well, it's just like, this is a movie that should have come out a decade ago, literally. But I'm still excited. We're going to see Maverick again, so I got Top Gun Maverick. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Obviously, I'm super excited. They got a good Canadian kid in there leading the way, not to mention one of the stars of Kim's Convenience. Very stoked about that. I think this is going to be a very exciting film. Totally looking forward to it. Nightmare Alley. Get this. This is a movie being directed by Guillermo del Toro. You've got Bradley Cooper, Cate Blanchett, Toni Collette, Willem Dafoe. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean, that just that by itself, we've seen no trailer, we've seen no anything. That by itself is it. Guillermo del Toro directing Willem Dafoe, Toni Collette, Bradley Cooper, Cate Blanchett. I mean, other than maybe the Street Monster, she might be the best actress on the planet. I mean, this sounds amazing. I cannot wait. My fourth honorable mention, and these are in no particular order, is The Tragedy of Macbeth. I am a sucker for Shakespearean stuff. I am also a sucker for Denzel Washington, and I'm also a sucker for Frances McDormand and Brendan Gleeson, by the way. Amish from Braveheart. I love Brendan Gleeson. He, of course, is Donald Gleeson's father. Love him. And it's being directed by Joel Coen of the Coen brothers. This is the first film I believe he's directing without his brother, but it's a Shakespearean thing. I'm all for it. Tragedy of Macbeth. Cannot wait. And then, of course, Eternals. Eternals there's a lot unknown about it. It's up in the air. It didn't make my top 10 most anticipated, but obviously with the cast, the lineup they've got there, not to mention you've got Chloe Zhao, who is directing it. That's getting a lot of buzz for Nomadland, is directing it. A lot of reasons to be excited for Eternals. So those are my honorable mentions. Okay, let's get into my top 10, shall we? We're going to start off at number 10, Morbius. This might catch some people by surprise that I would have Morbius on my top 10, but what can I tell you? I was a big sucker for that Venom movie, man. I know not everybody loved it the way I did. I had a ludicrously good time watching that movie. For them to come back now with Morbius, Jared Leto, you got an Academy Award winning actor who's got that new movie he's also got coming out with other Academy Award winners, Denzel Washington, Rami Malek. What's the name of that one again?
The Little Things.
The Little
Things. That's on my list.
Which I don't know how I didn't put that in my honorable mentions. I don't know how I left that off my list. Guys, consider there to be a sixth one on my honorable mentions list, The Little Things. And I thought the trailer smashed it. I love the trailer. So my number 10 right now is Morbius. My number 9 is a movie you may or may not have heard of. It's called 3,000 Years of Longing. Here's the really cool thing about this thing. You've got Idris Elba in this thing, right? And Idris Elba, it's a story of a woman who goes traveling the world And then here's the part that gets weird. And comes across a genie. And again, it stars Idris Elba. This is something to me, and Tilda Swinton, by the way, is in it too. So it's Idris Elba, Tilda Swinton. It's being directed by, I think George Miller is directing it. From Mad Max Fury Road, George Miller is directing it. So you got George Miller directing, Tilda Swinton, Idris Elba, a woman meets a genie. Okay, sounds good enough to me. So number 9 for me is 3,000 Years of Longing. Okay, my next one up at number 8 is Mission Impossible 7. I can't not have this movie on there. The Mission Impossible films just continue to crank out huge, incredible excitement and energy and thrills. They've just done such a good job. And I was never a big Mission Impossible guy for the first couple of chapters in the franchise, but they've really turned it on lately. So I've got to be very excited about Mission Impossible 7. That comes in at my number 8 spot. In my number 7 spot, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Again, I know not everybody loved the first Venom like I did, but I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you how just thoroughly entertained I was by it. It just gave me glee. Every time I watched it, it made my heart feel joy. I really loved it. And so for that reason, I've got it as high up as my number 7 most anticipated film. My number 6 most anticipated film, staying in that whole Spider-Man vein, we got Spider-Man 3. I loved Spider-Man Homecoming. I really liked Spider-Man Far From Home. I didn't like Far From Home quite as much as Homecoming, but still, Tom Holland has been an incredible Spider-Man. Watts has been great in it. Having this merger of Sony and Marvel Spider-Man, collaborating with those things, it's worked really well. So for that reason, I've got Spider-Man as my number 6 most anticipated film. My number 5 most anticipated film, and this one is winning all the early awards. It is Chloe Zhao's Nomadland with Frances McDormand, who's we already talked about a little bit sooner. All the various regional critic awards seem to be giving this thing Picture of the Year and all this kind of stuff. It's clearly going to be one of the major Oscar players. And again, for those of you really interested in the MCU, it is directed by Chloe Zhao, who is going to be directing the MCU movie, The Eternals. So number 5 for me is Nomadland. All right. In the number 4 spot, now we're really getting up there. And this is based on a couple of things, but way up here high, I've got Suicide Squad. First of all, I'm a big fan of James Gunn. I just think his absolute bonkers wonkiness that he brings to screen is always delightful. And I love what he does. Clearly you saw what he did with the Guardians of the Galaxy. But then the trailer they showed us at DC Fandom was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I loved every second of it. Everything we're hearing about it gets me excited. So my number 4 most anticipated film is Suicide Squad. All right, going into number 3. My 3rd most anticipated film coming into this year is James Bond, No Time to Die. Just despite the fact that, look, I love the new James Bond films with, the last one, not Quantum of Solace. What was the last one with the Spectre? Okay, Spectre. Yeah, Spectre I didn't love, and Quantum of Solace was questionable, but still overall, I've just loved the Daniel Craig era Bond films. The trailers, which came out 17 years ago now, the trailers for No Time to Die have been wonderful and exciting. And so for me, and it's James Bond. So James Bond for me is number 3. At number 2, and I'll tell you what, it was a tough for me to think about this for the final 2. But at number 2 for me, the original one was my favorite film of the year the original came out. So I got to go with A Quiet Place 2. Again, I think it was 2018. Was that the year of A Quiet Place? I think so. The year it came out, to me, it was easy. That was the best movie of the year, was the first Quiet Place. What John Krasinski was able to do with that film, the utilization of atmosphere and context and setting with incredible characters and great performances, legitimate scares. It's just a beautiful, wonderful, wonderful movie. The trailer for the sequel looked incredible as well. So for me, A Quiet Place 2 is my 2nd most anticipated film of 2021, which leaves us with the number 1. And you guys probably know what it is since you haven't seen it mentioned yet. It's Dune. Dune is the one that is just captured my imagination, and it's 80% the reason it is my most anticipated film of the year is because it's Denis Villeneuve. Denis coming on to direct this source material, which is never really, Rob, Dune is never really, while I like the miniseries, it's never really been able to be brought to fruition or reach its potential on the screen. In the hands of a director like this, with the cast that it has, this could be the next great sci-fi epic. This really can be the next great sci-fi epic. So once again, I'm going to give my honorable mentions: Top Gun, Shang-Chi, Nightmare Alley, The Tragedy of Macbeth, Eternals, and the one with Denzel Washington, which is called again...
The Little Things.
The Little Things. So I got to add, let me add that in there right now. The Little Things. Got to add that one in there too. All right, my number 10 is Morbius. Number 9, 3,000 Years of Longing. Number 8, Mission Impossible 7. Number 7, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Number 6, Spider-Man 3. Number 5, Nomadland. Number 4, Suicide Squad. Number 3, No Time to Die. Number 2, A Quiet Place 2. And number 1, Dune. That's it, Rob. That's my top 10 with a couple of honorable mentions. So I yield the floor to you, sir. What are the films you're really looking forward to this year?
Well, you asked me to make a list yesterday. See, viewers should know there's always homework for this show. You send out notes the day before. I sometimes have to go read articles and consult with things to find out what my thoughts are. But you asked me to come up with a list. And I came up with 32 movies, John. 32 movies by month. But I'm going to spare you all of them. But I just went through the release schedule and came up with 32 movies. But I'll just give you my 10. And then talk about the other things I'm excited about. Number 1, my first movie, the only movie.
Wait. Maybe you should go in reverse order. Maybe you should count from 10 down to 1. Build the anticipation for people.
I was going to.
Oh, okay, there you go.
I was gonna, but really, yeah. So I sort of arranged them by movie. So number 10, Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
Godzilla versus Kong. Only because as a kaiju fan my whole life, I loved Godzilla King of the Monsters. I love Kong Skull Island. Bring on the rumble. I'm ready to rumble. Number 9 is The Little Things. In terms of my list, this is a script that is 28 years old that has been resurrected, brought back from the dead. Denzel Washington, Jared Leto, and Rami Malek. Serial killer stuff right up my alley. That was 10,
number 9.
8. Number 8, The Many Saints of Newark.
Oh yes.
That comes out in March. The Sopranos prequel movie, which I think I can't wait to see. Number 7, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is Nicolas Cage basically playing Nicolas Cage and Nicolas Cage. Sounds pretty crazy to me. Then a movie called The Tomorrow War, a new film, science fiction movie. Chris Pratt stars in it.
Yep.
Earth is losing in an alien invasion, and they find a way to bring soldiers from the past back to fight the war, which sounds right up my alley. Number 5, is that what I'm at now?
Yep.
The Last Duel, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Ridley Scott movie. Looking forward to it. Number 4, The Matrix 4. Anything that it's Lana Wachowski's directing. Can't wait to see what's happening there. Number 3 is No Time to Die, obviously, because I'm a James Bond fan, and I can't wait. I can't believe I had to wait a year for this. Number 2, I've waited 45 years to see Steven Spielberg direct a musical, West Side Story, Steven Spielberg's remake of West Side Story. And number 1 is a tie. Now, number 1 is Dune, yes, but also Justice for Han. Justice for Han. Justice for Han. You can put that as a runner-up, or you can put it with Dune as number 1 most anticipated movie and call it Justice for Han.
You have Fast and Furious 9 above James Bond, No Time to Die?
That's right, damn it.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I just thought you would have it above that.
I could not in good conscience. I just had to mention it. Dune is my number one. I had to say Fast and Furious 9, Justice for Han, because I couldn't, I looked at this list. There's a lot of movies on my list. Like, look, Suicide Squad, totally up there. The Candyman, The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Movies I think are going to be really good.
Candyman's another one that could be very good that you just
Death
mentioned.
on the Nile. I'm dying to see Eternals. There's 32 movies on my list that I'm literally really, really, really anticipating. But there's, for various reasons, I had a few different things, but this is a great, the pandemic has basically made 2021 one of the greatest. I don't think I've ever been so excited for a slate. And every month, like I look at things like in May, Black Widow, Godzilla vs. Kong, Spiral from the Book of Saw, which I really want to see, Fast and Furious 9, and Infinite, another science fiction movie coming out. March, Coming to America 2, The King's Man, The Many Saints in Newark, Morbius, and The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Some of these months have movies I'm anticipating every week. It's unbelievable. And right now, The Eternals and Spider-Man 3 are scheduled to open on the same day.
Which is, that'll change. Of course, that'll change.
It's crazy.
But, just to remind you guys, so we'll take you down again. For me, I had honorable mentions: Top Gun, Shang-Chi, Nightmare Alley, The Tragedy of Macbeth, Eternals, and Little Things. My number 10 was Morbius. Number 9, 3,000 Years of Longing. Number 8, Mission Impossible 7. Number 7, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Number 6, Spider-Man 3. Number 5, Nomadland. Number 4, Suicide Squad. Number 3, No Time to Die. Number 2, A Quiet Place 2. And number 1, Dune. Rob has got at number 10, Godzilla vs. Kong. At number 9, The Little Things. At number 8, The Many Saints of Newark, the prequel to The Sopranos. Number 7, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Number 6, The Tomorrow War. Number 5, The Last Duel. Number 4, The Matrix 4. Pardon me. Number 3, No Time to Die. Number 2, West Side Story. And number 1, sharing top spot, I suppose, is Dune and Justice for Han, Fast and the Furious 9. The question is, guys, listen, there are a lot of films coming out, and what excites us, what we each look forward to the most, will vary from person to person for different criteria and for different reasons. These are ours, but there's many, many others. I want you guys to do a little bit of homework. Jump into the comment section and give us your list. What are your 10? And they don't necessarily have to be in order if you don't want, but what are your most anticipated films of 2021? We certainly have the potential to have a fabulous year of movies ahead of us. Jump on down there and leave your thoughts there.